Hey guys, welcome back to Low and Loud. So today, if you cannot tell by my t-shirt, we'll be working on my Integra today. So I've noticed some issues with my front suspension and it had been hitting some really hard bumps and not sounding too great. And I'm pretty positive that my front struts are blown. So we will be doing some insulation on some new suspension that I had gotten in the mail recently. So let me show you them. And then I'd really like to show you guys how to install them and show you guys that I do get my hands dirty, so let's get into it. For the Integra, I went with some Max Speeding Rod coilovers. I've had this brand on a couple of cars in the past. I really enjoyed how smooth they rode and they were decently priced. But also, if you really pay attention, look close, you'll see that the color on these are very close to my wheels. Let's go over here to compare. I'd say it is definitely the same color, if not very, very close. So I just had to go with a theme and get the same color. So we will get into installing, jacking the car up. I'd really like to give you guys a whole installation video. So let's get to work on that. These are a couple of the things that'll be helping me install the suspension on the Integra. I have my spanner wrenches, my clamps, and a few washers. Of course, you'll need all your other standard tools to get the wheel off, get the old suspension out, drop everything. So let's get into that and I will show you guys the process. Here is an overview of the tools that I will be using to remove my wheels and remove my old suspension from my car. So I have my impact. I have my Ugga Dugga impact with my 19. I have my ratchet with an extension, just in case. I have my needle nose pliers to remove that cotter pin clip from my upper control arm bolt. I have my spanner wrenches. This is for when I do install my new suspension, I can adjust the right height. And I have my open box wrenches. I have a 10, a 14, and a 17. Then, of course, I have my sockets ready. I have a 10, a 12, a short 14, a deep 14, a 15 for the new hardware that comes with the suspension, my 19, and then the key to remove my lug nuts from my wheels. I have some Allen wrenches. My suspension did come with a new bracket for my brake line, so I will need to put that on once I do install my front suspension. Then I have my pickle fork and my mallet so then I can remove the upper control arm easily. And then, of course, you'll need your torque wrench when you have finished this so I can torque my wheels back down, as well as a jack and a jack stand. So let's get into removing my front and rear suspension and I will show you guys the finished product. So now that I've shown you guys everything that I got in the mail today, let's get the car jacked up, the wheel off, and get the old suspension off so then we can put these bad boys on. I'm so excited, they're gonna look so good and I cannot wait for my car to ride even smoother and better and just everything, so let's get into it. So I am working with some limited space today, so we're going to be doing my front suspension first, and then I will have to take the car out, spin it around, and back it in so I can do the rear suspension, but I do have my jack and jack stand behind me, so let's get the car jacked up and ready to go. Anytime I jack up my car, I always make sure that there is a jack stand under my car, whether it is for a minute or an hour. I have removed my wheel. I am popping my hood so it's easier for me to remove the top bolts for my strut. Then next I am going in and removing the two tins that hold my brake line. I went in and used my needle nose pliers to remove the cotter pin from the upper ball joint. Then I went in with the pickle fork and mallet to separate the upper ball joint, and as you can see next, I am working on removing the 17 nut and bolt from the lower control arm, then the 14 holding the fork to the strut. For the cotter pins, I always make sure that I put new ones in every time I remove them. They're really cheap at Harbor Freight, and Harbor Freight, I am seeking a sponsorship, so please contact me. I do recommend to please be careful, as I do use my knees to hold everything up because you do not want to rip the CV axle out of the transmission.
Brother, what's that?
Jack it up.
I did just want to come here and say thank you everyone that gave me their input and their advice on my last video. I do only want to improve on every video that I do produce on this channel and all the stuff that I give you guys. One of the concerns was the audio of my last video. I do understand. I do live in the country. There's all these bugs and frogs making these noises. So I did take it upon myself, if you can't notice, to buy myself some microphones. They are cheap, they're from Amazon, but I feel all professional and put together. No, I'm just kidding. But I will be eventually improving on that as well. But I only want to give you guys clearer audio when I do work on my cars late at night, as well as whenever I want to do these interviews with people on their cars at these car shows. Hopefully that eliminates a lot of the noise in the background. But yes, I just wanted to really appreciate you guys, that you guys took the time out of your day to give me this advice and input. It only makes me better. And helps me improve videos that I produce for you guys. So yeah, eventually I will get better microphones, because just look at this little guy, this little fur ball. I don't think you guys want to see this little fur ball on my chest all the time, so I will be working on that, and yeah, just getting better, working on it. So let's get into the video and continue working on my car. For the rear suspension, I am stepping on my brake rotor after removing the top hat bolts from above and the 17 nut and bolt on the bottom of the strut, because my muscle does not exist here. Lining up my lower control arm with the strut and using a jack to lift the lower control arm for easier realigning. Then I always put grease back on the 17 so it doesn't rust on me the next time, and I install it with the bolt front to back, so if the bolt happens to come off, the bolt will still be there and not vibrate out. After that, I reinstall the new hardware, which are 15s on the top hat to tighten everything up on the rear. I am finishing up on the rear suspension, so I'm putting my wheel back on, and for all the girlies who are weak like me, I tend to use both my arms and legs to remount my wheel instead of only stressing my little noodle arms. Then I always reinstall my lug nuts by hand first. Then I will go in with the impact, followed by torquing them down to the correct spec. So I did get my new suspension on my car. It looks so much better underneath there compared to these ugly things behind me. I did try to match all four corners by measuring and adjusting with my spanner wrenches, but I do know I will have to wait for my suspension to settle to go and readjust how the car sits. But it was a very late night. I didn't get done till 1:30 in the morning, and then I had to wake up at 6 for a car show near me. which is called Coffee and Cars. My car does ride a lot better, sounds a lot better with how it's going over bumps and everything. It doesn't sound as rough, but I will insert those from the show. And I really do want to say that I appreciate you guys going through this journey with me, installing the front and rear suspension on my car. And I do just want to say I have some videos cooking up for my Integra and some things to do with Hot Wheels. So I hope to see you guys in the next videos, and thank you for watching. Please make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share, and turn on those post notifications, and I will see you in the next one.